Last Saturday, everything I thought I knew about my life came crashing down. All because of one little joke. I'm Lexi, 31, and up until that night, I honestly believe I had everything figured out. My husband, Julian, and I had been married for 4 years, and life seemed pretty perfect. We had this beautiful 3-bedroom home we bought 2 years ago, a tight-knit group of friends, and Julian had just received a big promotion at work, which was supposed to change everything for us. Our friend group was small and close, 6 couples who had known each other since college. We did monthly dinner parties, rotating the host each time. This month, it was our turn, and I was excited to show off our place, especially the newly renovated kitchen. Julian had thought it was too expensive, but I convinced him it was a good investment both for us and the house's value. Men don't always get these things right. Julian's promotion was at his office job. Nothing too glamorous, but it came with a hefty pay bump. The downside? He'd be traveling for 2 weeks out of every month. When he first told me, I played it cool and supportive. That's amazing, babe. I'm so proud of you. But in my mind, I was already thinking about all the nights I'd be spending alone while he stayed in nice hotels. Of course, I was happy about the extra money, which meant we could afford that vacation to Greece I'd been dreaming about, and maybe even renovate the bathroom next. But the travel thing? Not so thrilled about that. Cassidy, my best friend, was the only one who really understood. We shared everything, literally everything. She knew all about Julian's quirks, his weird little noises, even things he liked in bed. Julian had no idea I told Cassidy all these personal details, and I know it would crush him if he ever found out. But that's what best friends are for, right? To share all the juicy stuff. When it came to the bedroom, Julian liked it when I took charge, and sometimes I'd tease him about it when I was with Cassidy. It was harmless girl talk, or so I thought. Looking back, maybe I should have noticed how Julian always tried a little too hard to impress our friends. He was constantly making these elaborate meals, acting like he was a perfect host, and I'd always take the credit for them. Oh, it was nothing, just something I threw together, but in front of our friends, I'd make sure to hype him up. Of course, he played along, so I assumed everything was fine. The night of our dinner party was finally here. I'd been so excited to show off the kitchen, and Julian spent all day cooking while I handled the ambience. Flowers, candles, music. I wanted everything to be perfect, especially since I was hoping to make Krista and Dave a little jealous. Last month, Krista couldn't stop talking about their new pool, and I wanted to one-up her. The evening was going great. Food was delicious, drinks were flowing, and everyone was having a good time. Julian was telling everyone about his promotion, and I was smiling and nodding, pretending to be the supportive wife. Meanwhile, I was mentally planning how to spend his bonus check on designer boots I'd had my eye on. Then came the topic of his travel schedule. Our friends all started to ask how we were going to handle being apart so often. Dave made a comment about how absence makes the heart grow fonder, and everyone laughed. Julian just gave one of those tight, uncomfortable smiles of his and excused himself to grab more wine from the garage. That's when the real conversation began. In true dinner party fashion, the juicy stuff always happens when someone steps away, and I had no idea what was coming next. But if I had, maybe I would have kept my mouth shut. But I didn't, and now Julian won't even take my calls. There we were, all relaxing in the living room after dinner, everyone tipsy from the expensive wine Julian had picked out, though I took credit for it. We had just finished cleaning up and were lounging on the sectional, chatting about Julian's new job. Krista was gushing about how happy she was for us, though I couldn't shake the feeling she was being fake. Last month, she'd been bragging about Dave's bonus, and now she was pretending to be thrilled about Julian's promotion. Pamela, who was always trying to play the relationship expert, asked how I was going to deal with Julian being away so much. "Oh, we'll figure out," I replied vaguely, not caring much for her advice. Then Heidi, who's terrible at reading the room, piped up with, "You should order some toys that are the same size as him so you can still have fun while he's gone." Everyone laughed, and I saw my chance to crack a joke. I rolled my eyes dramatically and said, "I don't think they make them that tiny." I was expecting everyone to burst into laughter like we usually do. That's our dynamic. Tease laugh. Julian pretend to be embarrassed, but secretly loves the attention. But this time it was different. There was complete silence. Dave choked on his drink, and Mark suddenly became very focused on his phone. It hit me then. Something had gone horribly wrong. I saw Julian standing in the doorway, holding the wine bottle he'd gone out to get. The look on his face was something I'd never seen before. It wasn't anger, it was worse. It was as if something inside him just shut down. He carefully placed the bottle on the side table, as though he was afraid it might shatter, then turned and walked out. A minute later, I heard his car start in the garage. Did he just leave? Heidi asked, stating the obvious. I laughed nervously, trying to brush it off. He's just being dramatic. He'll probably drive around the block and come back. But even as I said it, a strange feeling settled in my stomach. Everyone was staring at me like I had done something terrible. What? I snapped, feeling defensive. It was just a joke. We joke about stuff like that all the time. Not in front of all your friends, you don't, Dave muttered. Krista elbowed him, but Cassidy said, I'm sure he'll be back soon. Still, she wouldn't meet my gaze, which was rich coming from her considering all the things I'd overheard about her and Tim. The atmosphere at the party fell flat after that. People started mentioning early mornings or babysitters, and within 30 minutes, the house was empty, except for me and the leftover mess from dinner. I texted Julian. Way to embarrass me in front of everyone. When are you coming home? There was no response. I called, straight to voicemail. By midnight, I was furious. Who did he think he was? Storming off like that. It was just one joke. If he couldn't handle a little teasing, that was his problem. I called Cassidy, hoping she'd have my back. You went too far this time, Lex, she said when she picked up. Excuse me. I couldn't believe my ears. It was just a joke. You humiliated him in front of all your friends about something really personal, she responded. Oh, please. Like you never talk about Tim stuff. I shot back. That's between us, Lexi. I would never air that out in front of everyone. I felt a flicker of doubt. Were my jokes really that bad? No. Everyone was just being oversensitive, right? Whatever. I don't need this from her, too. I thought she was my friend. I hung up, frustrated. The next morning, Julian still hadn't come home. No texts, no calls, just silence. I was torn between worrying and being angry. Where was he? Who was he talking to? Was he telling people I was some terrible wife over one stupid comment? I was about to find out just how badly one little joke could go. 3 days later, I finally got a message from Julian. I'm coming by to get some clothes while you're at work tomorrow. That was it. No apologies or talk about what happened. Just letting me know he planned to sneak into the house while I was gone. I texted back. Where have you been? We need to talk about this. Hours passed with no reply. Then I got a message. I'm staying at the Marriott downtown. I don't want to talk right now. A hotel? Not even with a friend, but in a hotel. Because his feelings were hurt over a joke, I decided to call Cassidy again, hoping she'd seen him since. Have you talked to him? I asked when she answered. Her hesitation told me everything. Yes. What did he say? He's really hurt, Lexi. He said this isn't the first time you made comments like that in front of people. That's ridiculous. It was one joke. I protested. Another pause. Was it though? What about at New Year's, when you told everyone he couldn't handle more than 2 drinks because he's built like a middle schooler? Or when you told Heidi he needed help opening jars? I couldn't believe she was bringing that up. Those were just jokes. Everyone jokes about their husband. Tim must do annoying things too. Yeah, and we talk about it privately. I don't announce his insecurities to everyone we know. Her words hit me hard. Was I really that bad? But I refuse to accept it. Whatever. I don't need this from you. I thought you were my friend. I am your friend, she said softly. That's why I'm being honest with you. I hung up, angry. Some people just couldn't handle honesty. The next day, I decided not to go to work. If Julian wanted to pick up his things, he'd have to face me. I waited all morning, rehearsing what I would say. I'd be calm but firm. I'd explain that his reaction was totally out of proportion, but I'd forgive him if he apologized. When he finally showed up, looking exhausted and distant, I felt like I was looking at a stranger. "We need to talk," I said, blocking the hallway. "There's nothing to talk about," he said quietly. "Nothing to talk about?" I asked, incredulous. "You disappear for 3 days over a joke?" He just looked at me. For the first time, I felt a chill. It wasn't a joke, Lexi. It was public humiliation. And it wasn't the first time. "Oh, come on. Stop being so sensitive." I tried to brush it off, but his voice was firm, and it caught me off guard. "I came to get my stuff. I'm staying at the hotel until I find an apartment." "An apartment? You're leaving over this." He took a deep breath. "I'm leaving because I finally realized something. You don't respect me. You never have. That's not fair, just because I tease you sometimes. It's not teasing when you're trying to humiliate me. And it's not just that comment. It's everything. The way you talk about me to your friends. The way you dismiss my feelings. The way you take credit for things I do." I felt my face burn. "What are you talking about? Who's been filling your head with this stuff?" That's when he pulled out his phone, showing me dozens of texts, screenshots of conversations between me and Cassidy, going back months. "This," he said quietly, "is what I'm talking about." There they were, all the things I'd said in confidence to Cassidy. Private jokes about Julian's size, his performance, his insecurities. And she had sent him these screenshots. "She showed you our private conversations?" I was livid. "What kind of friend is that?" "The kind who finally realized how toxic you are," he said. I felt slapped. "Toxic? I'm your wife." "No, Lexi, this is your fault. And the fact that you still don't see it is exactly why I'm leaving." I followed him as he walked toward the bedroom, watching him pack his suitcase methodically. "You can't be serious. You're throwing away our marriage over some texts and one comment." He stopped, looked at me, and said, "Do you even hear yourself? You still don't get it. You betrayed my trust in the most humiliating way possible. You've been doing it for years. I just didn't see it until now. So this is Cassidy's fault? She betrayed me." "No, Lexi, this is your fault." I felt the sting of his words. The door slammed behind him as he walked out, and I knew this time he wasn't coming back. I yelled after him, "You'll be back. Where else are you going to go? This is your home." He stopped at the door, but didn't turn around. "Not anymore," he said. And just like that, he was gone again. I stood in the suddenly empty house, furious, with him, with Cassidy, with everyone. How dare they make me the villain when I was just being honest, something most people were too afraid to do. I had no idea at the time how much worse things were about to get. In a friend group, word travels fast. By the end of the week, everyone knew Julian and I were taking a break, as I called it. I tried to control the narrative, telling people that he was overreacting to a harmless joke. But from their responses, it was clear they'd already heard his side. I posted something on Facebook. Sometimes the person you thought would always be there is the one who walks away when things get tough. I expected a flood of support. Instead, the post got 3 likes, 2 from acquaintances who didn't know the full story, and none from my close friends. Not a single one of them engaged with it. I called Heidi, hoping she'd understand since she was the one who started the whole conversation about toys. "I just don't get why everyone's acting like I did something horrible," I said after explaining. "Lexi," she sounded uncomfortable, "what you said was pretty bad." I couldn't believe it. It was just a joke. "Would you have laughed if Julian made a joke about your body in front of everyone?" she asked. I rolled my eyes. That's different. Guys are supposed to handle jokes. I think the issue is that it wasn't just a joke, it was mean. I couldn't believe even Heidi was against me. "Fine, whatever. I have to go." I snapped, hanging up and throwing my phone across the couch. The next day, I went back to work hoping for something normal, but as soon as I walked in, something felt off. Conversation stopped when I entered, and people were overly polite but distant. Then I saw Cassidy in the break room, and realized she must have been telling everyone her version of events. I cornered her by the coffee machine. "Having fun ruining my life?" I spat. She looked startled. "What are you talking about?" she asked, playing dumb. "First you tell Julian everything, And now you're turning everyone at work against me." She lowered her voice. "I haven't told anyone anything, and I didn't betray you. I did what a real friend should have done a long time ago, showing your private messages to my husband. Messages where you constantly degraded and humiliated him. I felt the tears of frustration building up. I thought we were friends." "So did I," she said quietly, "until I realized how you really treat people." As she walked away, I heard someone behind me say, "Yikes!" I turned to see two coworkers quickly look away and leave the break room. Great. Now I was the office gossip too. That night, I received an email from Julian with the subject line, "Divorce." Just like that. No conversation. Just a cold, formal email from his lawyer listing the items he wanted from the house. That's when it really hit me. This was happening. My husband was leaving me over one stupid comment. I tried calling him, but it went straight to voicemail. I texted him, "Don't you think we should at least talk before getting lawyers involved?" His reply came an hour later. "We have nothing to talk about. You've shown me who you really are." And what's that supposed to mean? I fired back. Someone who doesn't respect me. Someone who never has. Someone who uses people's insecurities against them and thinks it's funny. I deserve better. I was livid. "This is about Cassidy, isn't it? She turned you against me. This is about you, Lexi. It's always been about you." I just couldn't see it until now. I threw my phone across the room. Harder this time. Cracking the screen, just like my life. I still couldn't understand why everyone was blaming me. 2 months later, my life had completely fallen apart. The divorce was moving forward, and Julian still refused to meet with me unless lawyers were involved. I had to move out because I couldn't afford a mortgage on my own. Turns out Julian was paying a lot more than I realized. My small apartment in Houston was nothing compared to the house we'd built together. The friend group had fractured completely. Most of them still saw Julian regularly, while I got the occasional pity coffee date, where no one mentioned him. I knew they talked about me when I wasn't around. I could feel it in the awkward silences, the way they carefully avoided certain topics. Work wasn't any better. Cassidy had been promoted to a position I was up for. Everyone congratulated her, but I just got those sad sideways glances. I heard through office gossip that Julian was thriving in his new job. The travel that used to annoy me had turned into some big career opportunity for him. And then last week, the final blow. Dave accidentally included me in a group text about a dinner party Julian was hosting. He was bringing someone named Mia. A quick social media search showed me who she was. Successful, kind, and worst of all, she genuinely seemed to respect Julian. In the photos of them together, she looked at him like he was the most amazing man in the world. I tried talking to my mom about it, thinking she would be on my side. Instead, she asked me something that has been echoing in my mind ever since. "Honey, do you ever think maybe you were wrong?" Wrong? All I did was make a joke. Everyone else overreacted. Julian could have talked to me before running away. Cassidy could have been loyal instead of backstabbing me. Our friends could have supported me instead of taking his side. Sure, maybe I shouldn't have made that one comment in front of everyone. I can admit that, but to blow up our entire marriage over it, to destroy my friendships, my reputation, my life? Last night, I saw on Instagram that Julian had gotten another promotion. There he was, smiling broadly with his arm around Mia. Caption, #blessed. The comments were full of congratulations, including several from our mutual friends, the same ones who now barely return my texts. I scrolled through old photos of us, back when things seemed good, or at least when I thought they were. Was it really all my fault? Everyone else seems to think so. Everyone except me. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if maybe they're right. Maybe I did take Julian for granted. Maybe I did say things I shouldn't have. Maybe I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. But then I think about how easily he walked away, how quickly everyone turned on me, and I get angry all over again. So here I am, alone in my apartment, scrolling through social media, watching my old life continue without me. Julian's happy. Our friends are happy. Even Cassidy's happy. Everyone's happy except me. And for what? One little joke that went too far. It's not fair. It just isn't. But deep down, in a place I don't like to acknowledge, there's a whisper I can't silence. Maybe this is fair. Maybe this is exactly what I deserve. Not that I'd ever admit that to anyone,